Welcome to another Buy the Dips, Sell the Rips video. Today we're going to dive in and take a look at a couple coins, and what a wonderful way to kick off the month because we are already up in one of the coins we mentioned in a previous Buy the Dips, Sell video. Today we're going to take a look at cards, and I've been telling you guys about cards for a very long time, and boy has it been doing very, very well for us. Started at 7.8, so 8 mil. If you guys have been following, though, we've been calling this a little bit earlier, but when the Buy the Dips, Sell the Rips video, we told you guys, listen, take a look at it at 8 mil. Right now, it went up to 60 mil, and we think this is going to hit all-time highs. So I wanted to highlight this coin just to show you how good of an advantage you have when you're watching these videos, because you never know when a coin's going to get momentum, and we just want to make sure we're buying dip and we're taking profit on those rips. I still think Card still has a very nice upside here from this 60 million. Right now, you could potentially maybe get like a 2x out of this one, but it's already started ripping and it's looking pretty good, ready to test all-time highs. So I wanted to highlight this coin. Today, we're going to kind of dive into a couple coins that are, some of them are in dips, and we're also going to look at some higher risk coins that are, you kind of want to just kind of keep an eye on them and see what they do. And we want to position ourselves just in case these actually move on. So let's start off with the first one. The first one's already actually making a very nice move, and this is called Layoff. Very interesting narrative. Very similar to other narratives we have. It's just a kind of a very catchy term. And right now it kind of ran into 4 million. It's kind of figuring out exactly what it's going to do. If it's going to go higher, if it's going to go lower. And we kind of want to just make sure we get into the right position when it comes to this coin. I think what we're going to see right now with this coin are two primarily things. Number one, either we're going to get a nice little dip here where it kind of comes down and sets a nice, beautiful floor. It kind of already set up a floor at 1.52 mil around that range, and then it had a nice little kick up. I want to see it come down to a very nice, kind of nice range here where we could take a little bit of position and maybe this coin starts moving a little bit more. So what are we looking for this coin? So we're looking for two metrics. We're going to wait for this coin to actually come down here to 3 mil. And hopefully somewhere around 2.5. So 2.5 to 3 mil, that's where we want to take a little bit of position in this coin, because I do think this coin does have potential of going up. Right now it's at 3.5 mil. Not a bad range, but we always want to get some good gains. Usually what I recommend, sometimes these coins just automatically just take off out of nowhere. But it doesn't hurt to throw in some dust and just to monitor it, but not to go overly crazy on, on an entry here. It's just to kind of monitor it. But I'm looking for a 3 mil to 2.5 mil range around that. That's where I want to kind of just take a little bit of position there and see if this coin has a potential of moving forward. But I like the narrative and it looks really, really good. Okay. The next one we have is another one called Idle. And this one in particular already had a nice little move up to 1.7. It's retracing, it's trying to find its ground again here. And what I'm looking for this one is I'm kind of looking somewhere around this 600 to I would say 800 range. That's kind of where I'm looking to kind of take a little bit of position. I do think this coin will potentially get another run up here. It's not fully established. People don't really know what it is. It's kind of like a very newer coin, so it makes it a little bit more riskier than other coins we get into. But since it is a newer coin, we want to make sure we keep that in mind and just kind of don't overbid. But we want to look at these ranges, right? So we're going to look at something like between 600 to 800 there. And that is kind of like where we want to take a position. Right now it's at 897. I think it falls down a little bit more here around that 700 range. That's where we take a nice little position there and see what happens. Okay. The next one we're going to take a look at is the Worldcup. And as you guys know, we've been telling you guys about this coin forever. It had a beautiful rip. We took advantage of that rip. Right now it's kind of been testing that 3.4 mil range and that 4 mil range. Right now it is at 4 mil. Ideally, you would want the coin to come back down to 3.4, 4 mil range. I still think this one still has a nice potential. We're just a couple more days into the start of the World Cup. So I do think this eventually will get a nice little push with the World Cup just kind of getting closer and closer and closer. It did have like a little bit of a FUD, and the dev here and the dev over there. So that FUD caused the slip here. But I think eventually just the concept out of all the World Cup coins that have come out, this one looks a little bit more solid and more sustainable as it's held its ground for a little bit longer. 3.4 would be the best entry for this one. 4 mil is not a bad entry, but 3.4 would be like the best entry out of all of it. We might not even get to that 3.4. It might just come down to 3.94 mil here. So potentially, if you're not in this coin, if you're not invested in it, this 4 mil to 3.4 would, 3.5 would be kind of a nice little sweet spot here. I think it gets a nice boost, maybe like a 2x to a 3x here. If if it gets the attention it should, like Elon actually mentions it, or there's a big KL that picks this one up, I think we could see like an all-time high test ground to see what happens there. So still pretty good with this one here. The next one we're going to take a look at is Goblin. And as you guys know, I've been mentioning Goblin for you guys. We've gotten multiple bounces on this one. So it's touched this 4 mil, kind of ran back up here, 4 mil, run back up here. And I think eventually what's going to happen with this coin is two things, right? Primarily right now, it's at the stage where it's like either it's going to keep this momentum at this 4 mil range, or this momentum is going to completely die and we're going to come down here to like that 2 mil, 1.1 mil. If it comes down here, it's almost completely over in the sense that it's going to take some crazy catalyst to actually push this one up. So this is going to put this in a high risk zone just because it's at a beautiful entry at 4 mil, but you could still get that bleed out just because there hasn't been no major mentioning of Goblin when it comes to ChatGPT. There's been rumors, and the crazy thing about these coins, this is the way I like to position myself, is like I'd rather buy before someone mentions it, because once it mentions it, it's just gonna go up to like 8 to 7 mil, and then you're gonna want to buy there, and you're gonna be like, dude, I'm buying so high. So if you're not in Goblin, this is a very interesting position to kind of come in here and kind of test the ground here. 4 mil is not bad. Potentially, this comes down to 2.2 though. Okay, so I'm gonna leave a big gap here because there's a big shot that this comes down to 2 mil here, and that's kind of like where you want to kind of overbid, just because you don't, either it goes back up or it just doesn't go back up. It's one of those things. So big room here. Ideally, if you're not in it, this 4 mil is not a bad entry with the potential of a dip or a potential of a nice bounce back to 6 mil. So you're able to get like a nice little 40 to 50% gain here. Potentially maybe a 2x. Okay, so Goblin's looking pretty good. The next one we're gonna mention is Testicle, and this one had a crazy dip down on the first area we had, which is that 3.9 4 mil range. It bounced back up to 4 mil. Ideally, I want this to kind of hold this range, and what I'm expecting from this coin is kind of just do like the same thing Buttcoin did, which we did with Buttcoin. Buttcoin did the same thing. It kind of just was stagnant there around that 3 to 4 mil range, and then it had a beautiful push upwards. We're kind of expecting the same thing with Testicles here. Just that right now this is a very nice range. This 4 mil range is pretty good. Anything below 4 mil would be ideally here. Potentially comes down to this 2 point, like this 2.7. I don't think it comes down here. I think the lower we'll probably see this is maybe like 3.4 or 3.5. But I kind of feel like this might get a nice little bounce here. A pretty strong community, and it's been holding pretty well. And like I said, the best thing I could kind of reference this to is kind of like a Buttcoin narrative. So maybe we get the same fractional movement that we got with Buttcoin. The next one we're going to mention is Grail, and this one, as you guys know, right now, since cards is moving pretty crazy, everybody's focused on Pokemon, everybody's focused on card trading and everything. This is very similar to the one we had previous that ran up to 8 mil a couple months ago. This is kind of in the same scenario. Ideally, with this one, guys, what I want to see is that right now it's at 1 mil, but I kind of wish I could get underneath 1 mil. Okay, so what I'm looking for here, if we put this in the 5-minute chart here, what I'm looking for this one is to kind of come down here like around this 800 range, kind of like around here, and between 800 and 900. And that's where I'll probably take a little position here and see what happens with this one. If the meta and the Pokemon thing keeps like holding very strong, I think potentially we'll get a nice little boost on this one. So really interesting one to kind of take a stab at. Okay, so one that we want to kind of keep an eye on. Fairly new community, but it's not like super duper new where like people don't know what it is. Okay, so really interesting one here. The next one we're gonna take a look at, guys, is because it's in a beautiful dip, and of course, you guys know we are all about getting the dips here. It's Tokabu, and the reason I like Tokabu is because it is basically the meme for gambling. Okay, so it makes perfect sense that this will get a nice boost. We've had this do so well for us on multiple trades. We've kind of gotten the bottom here. When it came down here, we got this nice little boost all the way up here to 4 mil, almost a 10x. It's coming back down. Ideally, what I'm looking for this, guys, is somewhere like a nice entry here around this 1.5. That's kind of like where I take a stab at it. Maybe it comes down here back to 1.3, 1 mil, and it kind of figures out exactly what it's going to do with itself and what's going to do. But eventually, I think this will kind of still keep a very nice momentum. And eventually, we're going to get a nice little rip on this one. We already got this rip here. I think maybe we get another one. Okay, so we'll see, and keep an eye on this. The next one I want to mention, guys, and this is one that you guys know I mention over and over and over and over again, and this is PsyopAnime. And this one, guys, has huge potential just because of simple fact. One Elon tweet will literally send this back up all the way to 4.5 or 5 mil just by a Elon retweet. So it's a very interesting coin right now. It's kind of holding that 1.2, 1.3 mil range. So you want to make sure you guys keep an eye on this one. It's kind of like almost as low as it's ever been. So really good coin to kind of get into here. I don't think it goes below 1 mil, but I do think it has that potential if they retweet it or they mention it. They posted up a video, I think today or 4 hours ago. So I do think if that gets a retweet about World War 3, I think this will kind of get a nice boost here. Okay. The next two I'm going to mention, these are going to be super risky, fairly new coins, but they have a nice little potential of an upswing as we got them with multiple coins that we kind of tested here. The first one is going to be Atelier. So this one right here, really interesting meta. This is basically has a really good twist of you being able to kind of rent an agent. And right now it's like at 198, super low here, not high at all. Fairly, I don't want to use the word fairly new, but not a lot of attention, not a lot of people paying attention to this one. Right now it's at 198. Ideally, 150 would be amazing, but 198 is not bad to take a stab at it here. So, kind of that range. Let's see if it gets a nice little boost here. The next one I want to mention, this is going to be like one of the highest risk one, and we kind of traded this twice, and we had this beautiful boost here, and kind of like a nice little 3x on this one, and that's Ebola. Okay. And the reason we're mentioning this right now is because right now, as you guys know, we have the World Cup, a lot of stuff happening in the world, and it's just there's not that much attention on the actual news narrative on this, but there's still a lot of mention that it's still happening. So the theory here that we have is like, okay, well, right now it came back to 300, pretty good range here. Kind of just throw a little bit of dust here. If there's some reason that there's like a outbreak or something happens, this is going to skyrocket. So we just want to position in case that happens. If it doesn't happen, you want to set up a nice little stop loss. So this is a big risk one, but with a nice little potential of a huge upswing if anything happens. Okay, so that's one that we're kind of keeping a track on. And ideally, I wish I could tell you guys, let's see if we could maybe buy this a little bit lower. But right now it's kind of like the lowest it's kind of had from a bounce has been like 200. And 280 to 300. It's a nice little kind of like, let me just take a stab at it and see what happens. If there's anything that happens in the news, this will actually blow up. Okay, so those are the coins we have today for buy the dips, sell the rips. Don't forget to make sure if you want to hit a 10x this month, join Boltz Alpha. Link is down below. And also make sure you guys stop by every Tuesday and Thursdays we stream. So make sure you guys come by and hang out. And one more thing, if you want to figure out if these coins are going to go up, going to go down, we have the Boltz analyzer as well. So you guys can come and check it out inside the Boltz Alpha. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.